You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
So, all right, we're going to head into bullshit. We have a lot to talk about.
Attention, this is not a test. Do not adjust your computer. This is an E.T.N bullshit alert.
All right. We're going to start. There's a lot. There's a lot of bullshit to discuss here. This is why we got to it so quick, because there's a lot. Now, last week when we live streamed, we talked about Blizzard and the Warcraft 3 Reforged debacle. And from that moment to now, it's still going. And it's gotten worse. First, they didn't want to give any refunds. Now they bent on that. Then they made a post on their forums talking about how they promised to deliver, all the bug fixes and updates and patches, all the political jargon that you get from a game that's screwing up. And they got a lot of backlash there because, rightfully so, a lot of players said this is stuff you promised to begin with, and these are things that you were supposed to give us in the first place. Now, to make matters worse, there was a section in the user agreement where Blizzard made it very clear that any player who uses their map creator to make custom maps for people to play on would not own that. It would be owned by Blizzard. Now, if you're not familiar with Blizzard and the history of Warcraft and things of that nature, long time ago when the original Warcraft 3 came out, there was a custom game that originated as footies. It was called footies. Basically, you start the game, you have one main hero and a bunch of footmen to go and kind of out there and tank for you. This game then morphed into Defense of the Ancients, which then morphed into the MOBA Dota, as you well know. Because of this, because of the fact that custom maps were created by whoever made them, and that was their map, and they did the map, and they did the work, so, which is bullshit. But this is bullshit with a pretty funny ending. So now, any map a player makes with a custom game is owned by Blizzard, including Coon Hunter. Yes, there is a custom map game called Coon Hunter. You get a bunch of hunters in the game, and they stand on little towers, and they wait for black NPCs to run by, and they shoot them and kill them. Or there was a game about the Holocaust where you have to, you're basically standing in a big circle, and the big circle has a swastika, and there are fireballs rotating around, and you have to, as presumably the Jewish person, jump the fire that's rotating around the swastika, and as the game progresses, it gets faster and faster and faster, and you will get burnt. There's also other games that some players made. Now, these games are obviously very intentional because these games are owned by Blizzard. These are games now that, based on the user license agreement, Blizzard owns them. So Blizzard now owns a game about burning Jews during the Holocaust, and they now own a game about shooting black people. Lesson learned. Lesson learned, Blizzard. Good job. They just keep digging themselves a deeper and deeper hole. So disappointing. A video game company that when I was a lot younger, I dreamed of working there. It was one of the reasons I went to college for computer science, video game simulation, and programming. My God, how the mighty have fallen. Finally, is Marvel going woke? as I said in the beginning of this episode, I don't want to jump to conclusions until I actually see it. One of the news or one of the rumors coming out this week is that Black Panther will be replaced by Shuri as Black Panther, or Chadwick Boseman, I should say. And then another rumor started circulating that Miles Morales will be taking over and replacing Tom Holland in the Spider-Man movies. Now, anything can be done with success, I believe, if the story's right. And when I say this, I say this in regards to Miles Morales and the Peter Parker replacement. I think people are overreacting to that one. Miles Morales is well known. He's had his own Spider-Man comic. I think the argument here from people is that why replace Tom Holland when you can just bring them together or give them their own separate movies in the universe? I get that. I can understand that, especially considering that so many people like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. People are not ready for him to leave yet. However, going to the Black Panther thing, if this is true, which I'm very skeptical, because these two stories came out of We Got This Covered, which is about as reliable as a bad ingrown hair between your ass cheeks. So I don't know, but I will say this, just so that way we can talk about it, just so that way I acknowledge it. I do think if this is the plan for Marvel to go with Chadwick Boseman and Letitia Wright, I believe her last name was, I don't agree with it. I think it's too soon. I think Black Panther, I love the character. It's another character I loved growing up. I think Black Panther should be one of the leading characters in the franchise. Now, what people are afraid of is that Marvel's going to go woke and there's going to be an all-female Avengers. Marvel is probably right now the only company that can pull that off with some success. You look at Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel made $1 billion. You know, I mean, I guess some people are arguing now that, oh, well, billion's really not that impressive anymore. Well, you know what? That's not true. $1 billion at the box office is still impressive. You know, we can't say that it's not impressive because a movie we don't like or we don't agree with made it. I didn't like Captain Marvel. I thought it was mediocre at best. I think it benefited from being in between or right before the first Avengers Infinity War movie. Or it was a benefactor of that big time, because some people felt, or excuse me, after Infinity War and before Endgame, I think it was a big benefactor of that, because at the end of Infinity War, you got to see the Page, and then 2 months before Endgame, you got Captain Marvel. Your general average moviegoer felt to keep up with Marvel, you need to see this movie. As we all know, you did not. I'm going to be very interested to see how Captain Marvel 2 does. Very interested. Do I have a problem with an all-female Avengers? I don't have a problem with anything that's all woman. I have a problem being forced. And I have a problem when female actresses say this is not for white men or this is not for men. And then I'm like, I don't go. And then they turn around and they want to blame me for the movie fucking up. That's what I have a problem with. Look, just make your female movie and just let me be. Let me be. That's it. So, a lot of bullshit. A lot of bullshit.